Once again, the Dakotas Conference is responding in a significant way to help the people of North and South Dakota recover from a disaster. The harsh winter of 2008 and the abrupt arrival of spring in 2009, with rapidly rising waters on our rivers and tributaries, sandbagging efforts, evacuations of our people and entire communities of every size working together to combat the forces of nature have been noteworthy. Whatever your role has been, thank you. Over the last 12 years, the Dakotas Conference, with others of the faith community and our VOAD partners, the voluntary organizations active in disaster, have worked together to help those who have been impacted by disasters to recover. In every disaster, the United Methodist role has changed somewhat so that we do not duplicate the efforts of others. However, in the present response, we will be engaged in the ministries of cleanup, of rebuild, emotional and pastoral care, case management, collaboration as a partner in the unmet needs committees. Let's discuss these areas briefly. Flood buckets are being used now in many places of our conference. We thank both UMCOR and our local congregations of North and South Dakota for supplying them. If your congregation has flood buckets to share, please notify me, the conference disaster coordinator, Paul Baker, at my email is eumc@702com.net. And I'll tell you which community needs your buckets. If your community needs flood buckets, likewise, email me. I'll get your community flood buckets from the quantities that we have available. Many of your congregations have the ability to form teams, maybe just one person or many people, who can serve in your own communities or elsewhere to clean up homes. We're asking that you register your team individuals by contacting Debra Ball-Kilbourne. She will send you the forms as an email attachment or via regular mail as you request. This will allow us to form a database as to who may be available as each community gets to cleanup stage throughout our conference. Lorna Jost will register teams from outside our conference. Our partner, Lutheran Disaster Response, will be coordinating teams from all the faith communities and unaffiliated volunteers for mass cleanup and rebuild efforts as its primary gift to this effort. We will work closely with them. Because it's important that houses be cleaned well by teams that know what they're doing, please participate in the MOOSE training, mucking out oversaturated environments. The first of these is being announced on our conference webpage. Care and emotional response. In 1997 and in subsequent disasters, Stevens ministers, parish nurses, pastors, and other emotional caregivers were helpful in responding to disaster in a number of ways. In this effort, the Reverend Mark Ellingson will be the initial liaison for the Dakotas Conference response effort in this area, bringing others into this ministry, which will be ecumenical in nature and involve each of these components. At present, he's already meeting with the Committee of Spiritual, Mental, and Emotional Caregivers in the Fargo-Moorhead area, whose initial tasks include disseminating helpful resources and creating a database of caregivers to work with communities who have worked so hard to save their towns for days on end and who have emotional needs which need debriefing. Cleanup through the MOOSE-trained volunteers, rebuild, and pastoral and emotional response efforts are three of our key components in our disaster response plan. So thank you, and remember the call from Nehemiah 2:17. Come, let us rebuild. Now Debra will explain our fourth response, case management.
Thank you, Paul. Case management, which is coupled with emotional and pastoral care, is really the backbone to our recovery system. The United Methodist Church will take a major role in case management, working in partnership with our other faith partners. Case management involves the coordination of caseworkers and property appraisers who are coordinated to assess financial needs, emotional recovery and health issues, and other flood and disaster-related needs. A whole staff of United Methodists working with Catholic Charities, Lutheran Disaster Response, Salvation Army, Red Cross, and perhaps many other partners will use a single entry approach. Each will use the same system of case management. Often the very best appreciated help of all is knowing that somebody cares and will simply listen to the unique story of flooding that each family occurred. When the information has been gathered and validated, then the case information will come down to the Long-Term Recovery Committee, or what some communities might call the Unmet Needs Committee. Regardless of what that committee is called, it basically does the same kind of work. Its job will be to assess what's needed and to try to get unmet needs covered. After FEMA has done its work, after insurance has done its work, we will try to meet those unmet needs. Funds definitely will be needed by the Dakotas Conference to fund our response efforts. We've also asked the United Methodist Committee on Relief to help in this response endeavor, and they've already proven themselves to be stellar. In fact, Tom Hazelwood and Larry Powell, two of their most gifted and experienced personnel, spent several days here in the Dakotas Conference providing oversight for our needs. An advance special has been established by the Dakotas Conference and can be found on the gbgm-umc.org website. Simply go to that website and then click on UMCOR, and you'll find how you can donate to that advance special. You may also donate through your local church and mark it for that particular advance special, or if you want your funds to simply remain here in the annual conference, you may donate to the Dakotas Conference and mark it Spring Storms. Many of you have already made it your practice every day throughout your Christian life to go to the Scriptures for guidance, and so have Paul and I. Isaiah 43:2 reminds us, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flames shall not consume you. For I am the Lord your God." In verse 4 of that same passage, we are promised, "Because you are precious in my sight and honored, and I love you." Today as we tape, it is Good Friday, and we remember just how loved we are. Salvation has been given to us as a wonderful gift, and there have been many other gifts as well. God loves us by name, and whether our name says Pembina, or Fargo Moorhead, or Bismarck, North Dakota, or Brown County, South Dakota, we are cherished and loved and will be guided all the way to recovery. Your efforts are needed, your gifts are needed, but remember, through it all, we are loved by God, who cherishes us and loves us and remembers us. Thank you for your endeavors, and thank you for everything you are doing to help your neighbors and friends.